Welcome back to my vlog, everyone. It is 12:27 p.m. here in New York, and as you can tell from the green light, I have my microphone completely charged. Now, I don't know why these microphones do not give you a warning when they need to be charged, because after the incident I had yesterday where half of my video ended up muted and I had to redo it, it's just a headache. And speaking of headaches, um, let's talk about my past and bring it into the now. So I have neurological problems. Okay. I was diagnosed in 2002 with essential tremors. I've had tremors my whole life, but I didn't get a final diagnosis until I was in the military. Hence, I ended up with a medical honorable discharge from the military because I have tremors in my hands, which made my rifle or my firearm shake while holding it. It's a bummer because I could get my target. I hit my target fine. They just did not want me in the military with the tremors. They said that I could go see a neurologist, get put on medication that would stop the tremors, but unfortunately, there's nothing that they can find that actually stopped my tremors. So that's why I'm not in the military anymore. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now, but that was leading up to what I'm going to be talking about. All right, so 2002, diagnosed the essential tremors. They get worse like every year, which is a bummer. My father had Parkinson's, so it might be inevitable for me, which really sucks. Then I started to notice I think it was 2014, according to one of my social media accounts, I had posted in there about migraines. And it seemed like it was a constant thing that I was posting was about migraines. And I recall that I went to the neurologist, a new neurologist, to finally be seen about my tremors. And I did mention my chronic migraines. They didn't think anything of it. They just concentrated on my tremors. They kind of ignored the fact that I have chronic migraines that cause a lot of pressure on my head, and I'm using NSAIDs. NSAIDs are non-anti is steroidal inflammatory drugs. Forgive me, I brain freeze. No, remember, I have neurological problems. Well, anyways, it took until 2019 when they finally decided that they were going to do an MRI because I had been complaining and complaining and complaining that I had migraines. When they did the MRI, they saw something, and then I ended up having to get a lumbar puncture because what they saw was extra fluid around my brain. This extra fluid was fluid that should not be there. And what it was doing is it's pressing on my brain, and it's causing me to have head pressure. So I ended up getting a lumbar puncture, spinal tap, whatever you want to call it. And what happened is they removed some spinal fluid from my spine, which relieved some pressure off my brain, as well as they were able to send the fluid off to a lab to diagnose what the pressure is and see if there was anything seriously wrong with my spinal fluid. I didn't get anything bad back about it, but I did end up getting diagnosed with idiopathic intracranial hypertension. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what is idiopathic intracranial hypertension? Well, the word idiopathic means that they can't figure out where the problem is stemming from. Now, they have pinpointed, but you cannot say 100% of anything where something comes from. Now, as I was mentioning, I was using NSAIDs constantly, daily, 3 times a day, 4 times a day to get rid of my chronic head pressure. And it wasn't helping. So I was just popping those pills. Come to find out, they did damage to my stomach as well as it did cause problems in the brain because you're not supposed to use those on a daily basis. They're not the greatest medication to be using daily. That's why they say acetaminophen is the best for any type of pain relief over the counter. Well, anyways, another name for the idiopathic intracranial hypertension is pseudotumor cerebrae. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Is that pseudotumor means false tumor. The thing is when you have idiopathic intracranial hypertension, you end up with the symptoms and the feelings and whatnot as if you had a brain tumor, but there is no tumor there. So it's mimicking a brain tumor. And for me, that is hard for me to deal with, the fact that I have something going on in my head that is mimicking a brain tumor and giving me the symptoms of somebody that has a brain tumor, because of the fact that my father had a brain tumor and they said it was benign. And when my father went in for brain surgery to get the tumor removed, they hit the tumor, and what happened is it broke open, and come to find out that that benign tumor was not benign, that it was cancerous. So cancer spread through my father's body and he ended up with brain cancer. We only had my father for 6 months before he passed away. So me having something that mimics a brain tumor is really hard for me to deal with, because then it's like, oh my God, this is what my father was dealing with all the time. And my father he had migraines like as long as I had been alive before he passed away. And that scares me that I have the same problems my dad did when it comes to migraines. So it scares me. And my fan just kind of like cut out. It's kind of weird. I mean, I don't think we're losing power. I mean, it's not doing anything outside to lose power, unless some idiot below me is like screwing with the electricity. Okay, anyways. So it's kind of hard for me to deal with the fact that I have something going on in my brain that is mimicking a tumor. I lost my dad in 2017, and then I get diagnosed in 2019 of something that is a false tumor. It's kind of scary. Well, anyways, I've been put on different medications and none of them seem to work. None of them seem to work. Um, I stopped using the NSAIDs because I was told to, due to the fact that it did destroy my stomach lining, which that's another thing you got to be careful of if you take any type of NSAIDs. So I had been placed on many different drugs to try to get the head pressure to go away. I'm not going to list them all because literally I can't recall every medication that I was on, because I do have neurological problems and I have memory issues. Well, it's gotten to the point that they tried a beta blocker on me back in 2021, and I had just came off some other medication that I will discuss about later on. I just came off of that medication, so it wasn't working for me. It was actually making me feel worse. So I got off of that very quickly, and I said, screw it, I don't want to go back on it. Well, some reason I ended up back on it in 2022. Don't know why I ended up back on it. I think it was because of some trauma that I dealt with in the summer of 2022. Uh, I will be talking about that later on. So I figured that if I went back on it, it would help me, because I was having really bad heart palpitations because of the trauma. And with it being a beta blocker, which is a heart medication, it would help heart palpitations. But it was making my heart palpitations actually worse, and I was getting really dizzy on it. So I took myself off it. Shouldn't really just take yourself off medication cold turkey. Should taper off medication. But I figured I hadn't been on it that long that I needed to come off it. Fast forward to last year, um, I was doing fine off in the beta blocker, but the head pressure was starting to go down, And we ended up back in a situation where I had a lot of trauma, and what it was doing was causing me stress. And some of you know that stress can cause migraines, and my head pressure came back like in full force. So I was back to dealing with it on a daily basis, and I was overusing acetaminophen, and it was just not the greatest thing to be doing is overusing any kind of over-the-counter medication. So I kept battling it. Neurologist really is being useless, and really should be doing an MRI to check my brain to find out if there's something going on, especially since I do have the random fluid buildup on my brain. Luckily, I have not had any weird fluid coming out anywhere, my ears or my nose, to state that I have a leak. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because if that happens, then I got to go get an emergency spinal tap or lumbar puncture. So recently, I got placed on a, a beta blocker, same one that hasn't done anything for me, but I talked my neurologist into putting me back on it because another traumatic experience happened, a lot of trauma, and something I don't want to talk about right now because I'm going to talk about it later. Ended up screwing with my mental health, and what had happened is it started to cause, the pressure got bad, and it also caused me some heart palpitations. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to get back on that medication, see if it'll help my head, and it'll actually help me with heart palpitations, because I really do not want to go to a doctor and get put on antidepressants. I'll explain why I don't want to be put on antidepressants another time, okay? So I ended up back on it, and I was taking it 10 milligrams 2 times a day. I saw that during the day, because I was taking it in the morning, I was taking it at night. I noticed that during the day, in the middle, I was having problems with my heart palpitations. So I ended up talking to my neurologist, well, a fill-in neurologist that I wish was my neurologist because she really listens. I talked her into giving me a dose during the middle of the day. Well, the thing is when I got bumped up to 10 milligrams 3 times a day, I started having problems with my heart. I started having really rapid heart rate, heart palpitations, whatnot. So right now I am in the process of tapering off of this beta blocker because I've been on it for a little over a month, and I do not want to come off it cold turkey because it can cause heart palpitations and some other complications. You should never come off of a beta blocker cold turkey unless you've only been on it for like a few days or something. But if you've been on it longer than just like a couple weeks, then you need to taper it. Don't believe anybody that says otherwise. I've listened to too many doctors that say, hey, just come off at cold turkey, and I end up in trouble. I'll talk to you guys about that some other time. All right, so I'm in the process of tapering off of that beta blocker. I did make a mistake. I made a mistake. You're supposed to taper 5 to 10% of what the dose is. So I made the error of completely eliminating a dose when I should have just cut a dose in half, which is a little more than what I was supposed to eliminate, but it's a heck of a lot less than what I did. So I removed a complete dose, and what I'm dealing with now is I'm dealing with heart palpitations constantly. I'm dealing with dizzy spells constantly. I'm dealing with being nauseous. I'm losing my appetite. Um, the appetite loss is usually during the day, but I also have a situation where I'm afraid to eat any food when I'm home by myself. Something I'll explain in another video. See, I got a lot of interesting things going on in my life that you all would just love to hear about. So, anyways, I have to wait. It's my choice. I'm tapering my own self. I have to wait until I feel stable enough before I go and try to taper down to another dose, which I will be only tapering by 5 milligrams. I'm not going to eliminate another dose because that is just stupid. And you're probably saying, if you're having heart palpitations, why are you drinking coffee? But here's the thing, it's decaf. But decaf coffee still has some caffeine in it. Caffeinated tea still has some caffeine in it because you cannot eliminate 100% the caffeine that is in a coffee bean or any kind of, I don't even know what the leaves are in tea. I have no clue. Okay. I'm English and I ain't got no damn clue. Anyways, let's bump it back to my migraines. So the beta blocker was helping me, but then it stopped. Head pressure came back. And I'm starting to wonder if it's the environment around me. Another thing I'm going to explain in another video. Or if the medication just did not want to work for my head. So a couple months ago, I think it was before I even got on the beta blocker. I think it was when I was on the Emgality, which was a shot I had to give myself in the stomach, which I really did not like doing that. My neurologist put it into, talks of Botox injections. And I've heard about it before, people getting Botox injections to help with migraines or chronic pain. And I'm thinking, wow, Botox, that can do wonders. Because if you think about it, and I've done some research on this, Botox injections for migraines, they have to give me multiple shots here, okay, here, okay, all this. So this right here, you can't see it because I think there's like a filter on me. All right. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get those Botox injections, and if I have any wrinkles here, it's going to get rid of them. Okay. And then I got to get shots down my temple, down the temple. Maybe I'll get lucky and get those crow's feet gone. Okay. Then it's got to go down the back of my head. And then in my shoulders, I have to get shots in my shoulders. That's about 20 to 30 sticks for Botox injections. Am I looking forward to it? Yes. But am I looking forward to the pain? No. But if it helps me, great. Great. I will love it if it helps me. Okay. Not looking forward to getting a needle in my head up to 30 times. So, what's going on with the electricity in this place? Not looking forward to that, but if it helps me, so be it. And I'm to get the Botox injections every 12 weeks. So every 3 months, I will be getting those shots in my head, my neck, temple, shoulders. So I had gotten the voicemail yesterday, and I actually missed it. It was a call I have been waiting for. So I missed the call. I got a voicemail, and come to find out, I need to schedule an appointment to get a consultation done, so they can check me over to see if I'm healthy enough to get the Botox injections. Now, when they say, "Are you healthy enough?" and you're probably thinking, "Well, here you are talking about how your health is shit, and here you got to have a consultation to find out if you're healthy enough." All right, they don't care about my mental health. Okay, well, they do care about my mental health, but they don't care about my mental health to get me my Botox. Okay, it's just to make sure that I am healthy, and I am a healthy person. I am a healthy person. I just have neurological problems and I have mental health problems. That's it. And I will be discussing how I ended up with the mental health problems in another video, but they're not looking at that thing. They just want to make sure that I'm not sick, that I am strong enough to be able to withhold, get the shots. Hopefully, my husband could be there with me because he definitely needs to hold my hand. Uh, he did not want to give me my Emgality shot, but he did hold my hand. He did hold my hand. So maybe I can talk him into holding my hand when I get the shots in my head. Now, here's the thing. I shouldn't be too worried about the shots in my head because back when I was in the military and they diagnosed me with the essential tremor, I ended up having to have those little things taped to my head. And what they did is they put little shocks in there to pinpoint where I was having problems with my brain, which is actually down the back of my head. Okay, that's where my problem is. That's where they notice it. I actually have to get a hold of them to see if I can get that medical records, uh, to give something to my neurologist to prove that, you really need to look a little deeper, lady, because you got a lot of shit wrong in my records. But anyways, um, the thing is when it comes to essential tremors or Parkinson's, and I put those two together because they both have similar neurological problems, except one is they're different in different ways. You'd actually have to do some research to find out how they are different. Well, anyways, why is my battery on my cell phone dying so darn quick? Whatever. Well, anyways, normally a person, it's either your right side or your left side you have a problem with. Okay? Because your left side controls your right side and your right side controls your left side. Me, my problem is right smack down the middle, which means it's irritating both sides. So when a person has the problems over here on the left side, it actually interferes with the right side of the body. Okay, so this side of the body. And you would have the tremors on that side. For people who have problems over here, okay, is that a gray hair? Please say that's just a blonde hair. Yes, I was a blonde once. All right, I'm hoping that's just blonde. I'm not ready for gray hair. Okay, so if you have a problem here, then it is interfering with this side. But unfortunately, because mine is straight down the middle, I have the tremors on both sides. That's a rarity that they start off on both sides. Usually it's one side and then the other, and then got both sides going. So reason for my video is to announce that I got approved through my insurance to get the Botox injections to help with my migraines. And fingers crossed, guys, that it actually helps me because I have been through a lot of pain. I've been through torture with doctors and whatnot. Nobody listening to me. Everybody thinking it's a joke. Everybody thinking, you can just, take a pill and you're better. Or lay down in the dark and you're better. No, no, no. When it comes to extreme pressure on your head, that's not something you can do. It's something that really needs to be looked into. MRIs, CAT scans, get it looked into. We can't ignore things that go on with the brain because the brain is what controls everything we do. If this isn't working right, this isn't working right. So I'm going to let you all go and I'm going to take a break and I might come back sometime today or it'll be tomorrow and I will talk more to you about what's going on with me. So see you soon. Bye bye.